things with which the earth creeps. Smoke does not destroy the things with which our firmament creeps, which is part of the earth. It's part of a protective shield of the earth that Yahweh created during that 7 days of creation. Yahweh created it, otherwise there would not be any life. You couldn't have it. You could burn coal and smoke. This has nothing to do with the firmament. And you will find this out if you will start paying attention to what Yahweh shows you here. If you will test the firmament, you will find it's full of microorganisms, as you call it, creeping things with which the earth creeps, the heavens creep too. The firmament is something that Yahweh created to protect man and make sure that it stays adjusted to where he gets just the right amount of ultraviolet rays to live. It's a protective shield that goes all around the earth. If the scientists today would turn to the Holy Scriptures and seek their answers there, they would see that STDs are invading. We're scattering them throughout the firmament, throughout the so-called ozone. They're latching on to the very things that Yahweh created, and they're destroying it, just like they're destroying the earth. You know, the earth cannot deal, the enzymes, as we call them. The Scripture says all the things with which the earth creeps, all the bugs with which the earth creeps. Science today has called these enzymes. And the enzymes that govern the earth and make sure that the food grows. There are kingdoms of them. There are billions of kingdoms of these enzymes that Yahweh created to make sure that your vegetables grow, that your cow can eat grass to give you milk and give you meat, that the trees can take it in and bring you nuts and fruit. All of these things were created by Yahweh. The atmosphere or firmament is full of these same enzymes. But these enzymes are destroyed when they're latched onto by STD. STD's, AIDS right now, it's latching on to everything. It's, it's strengthening the other diseases, but it latches on to all kinds of cells, all kinds of microorganisms. And it destroys them. And it does the same thing in your body. Your body is made up of the same enzymes that are in the earth and in the air and so forth. Then you cause these microorganisms to form that are deadly. They are a deadly form of viruses and microorganisms, of parasites that actually cause deaths, and they cause the breakdown of the body.
Shocking news about women and sexually transmitted disease. A new Centers for Disease Control study just out today shows that more than a third of American women have human papillomavirus by the time they're 24 years old. And about a quarter of all women under the age of 60 are infected at any given time. That makes HPV the most common STD in the nation.
And misery, much misery is being suffered right now. And
when you tell a woman you've got herpes, what's the reaction usually?
Almost always tears, anxiety. What, me? No, they can't be.
But Cohen looks at what this means for women and men on the dating scene.
How did you contract herpes? I had sex with a boyfriend one time. One time? One time. The first time we had sex, I contracted herpes.
Marriage is holy if it's kept according to the laws of health and according to the laws of marriage. And you cannot cause a disease if you keep it holy. But when you make it unholy, with a woman having multiple lovers in her body, then you cause these microorganisms to form that are deadly. They are a deadly form of viruses and microorganisms, of parasites that...
So if you have sex with your wife, you're not going to have any problems. Now, I can give you biologic reasons why that happens. I can give you articles. I can give you statistics. One example, hepatitis C. Hepatitis C, okay, whole different, an infection that occurs in 9% of people who have sex with people who have multiple partners. But when you have a person who's infected with hepatitis C and they're monogamous, the likelihood of transmission from one spouse to the other one is less than 4%.
I'm afraid I have some bad news. Your husband gave you HIV.
But Yahweh says if you follow a certain type, a certain manner of lifestyle, you're going to cause disease epidemics.
Invariably, it's cases that the percentage of transmission goes up when somebody is having sex with somebody they're not supposed to be.
This, I've been preaching this for over 50 years, that if we keep up this lifestyle that we're practicing right now, that we're going to bring huge epidemics of diseases upon ourselves. Well, of course, the world is scientists. The scientists know this right now. They know that we're causing these diseases. In fact, they say that there's no way to find a cure for AIDS right now, because by the time they find a cure for one strand of AIDS, you know, there's 15 others created in the woman's body, in men's bodies, with women having multiple lovers, with men and women with women, and even women and men with animals. And
even if you're in the world living an invisible life, what about your visible girl or your visible wife? That HIV is like an invisible knife, not just to break her heart, but to take her life. And that's too heavy to take it light, but it's too much to where economy get tested right. And that's too wrong to pretend it's right. Down low, brother, I'm saying. That's slow down, brother.
You know, fornication is, of course, comes before marriage, and we're teaching our children today, you know, we're actually teaching them to wear condoms to protect themselves when they go out from these deadly diseases.
You wear a raincoat for stormy weather, spray waterproof on your butter leathers. Doesn't it make sense for you to stay protected when you're getting with whomever? For all the years that you and your wife have been together, for all the good times that you and your girl have spent together, doesn't she deserve better than life-threatening sex with a man that she loves and respects, when all you have to do is wrap up and get tests? That HIV is like a thief with the chrome. Run up in your crib and put 2 in your dome. But you gotta remember, you're not in the crib alone. You've got loved ones to protect, and it begins with you holding your own. Get tested, stay protected, prevent HIV.
Once they get over the initial shock of being diagnosed with any STD, Dr. Rabinowitz tells them, first of all, they have to be out in the open with anyone they're thinking about sleeping with.
And the doctors can only treat the symptoms and try to stop the pain at this time, because they have nothing that will actually stop this.
Like all vaccines, Gardasil may not fully protect everyone. The side effects include pain, swelling, itching and redness at the injection site, fever, nausea, or dizziness.
Gardasil is not for women who are pregnant.
Gardasil does not prevent all types of cervical cancer, so it is important to continue with routine cervical cancer screenings.
Gardasil will not treat cervical cancer.
Ask your doctor about getting vaccinated with the only cervical cancer vaccine, Gardasil.
And they should use a condom.
You know, as if condoms would protect them from these diseases. And it says right on the back of a condom package, you know, that this will not protect you from disease, sexually transmitted diseases. But we pass these out. We actually pass these out to our children, encouraging them to do these things. You know, this is a sick world. You may not want to admit it, and you may want to turn this off and not even watch me anymore. But I'm the only one on earth right now that's warning you of these things and what is going to come.
And the partners should get tested. So you tell them before you sleep with this person, just ask, do you have an STD?
Absolutely. Trust but verify.
No, it's interesting because there's a lot of people that have a lot of sexually transmitted diseases and don't say anything, right, and have unprotected sex and spread it.
Lippenherpes? Wie unangenehm. Jetzt hat Compete die Innovation. Compete Herpesbläschen-Patch. Das erste nahezu unsichtbare Patch gegen Herpesbläschen. Wirkt sofort schmerzlindernd für eine zuverlässige und diskrete...
But you hear it's people that are dirty, you know, prostitutes and drug addicts, and I'm none of that. And then I find out I have herpes, and I cried.
Filthiness of her fornication. Filthiness of her fornication. Well, it's speaking of just what I said, the breeding inside the woman's bodies and mutating of these diseases, parasites, viruses, and so forth, that then is transferred from man to man, woman to woman throughout the earth.